All right, hello. We're gonna do our Unit 2 review. No, this is Unit 1. We are in Unit 1, solving equations. In class, what we're gonna be doing is a list of we do problems all the way down the board, and then I'm gonna give you time to try and do and put your answers in quizzes to see if you got them right or wrong. So for this video, I'm going to do it in the same order. I'm going to go ahead and record all of the we do problems first, and then I'm going to make a video with the quizzes, problems, answers as well. And yeah, so let's start with these we do ones. I'll also have the quizzes linked at the top, so that way if you want to do it as well to check your answers on your own first before watching the quizzes video, you can do that. So you'll see that quizzes link right up here at the top. Okay, so we have solving equations. X plus 4 over 5 equals n. Solve for x if n equals 2. So I see an n right here. So when we are solving this, well, I'm told that n is 2. So instead of using that n, I'm going to go ahead and just put 2 there instead, because n is 2. And then now we can solve. As always, get rid of that denominator first. Always get rid of division first by multiplying by 5. Those cancel because dividing by 5 and multiplying are opposites, and we get x plus 4 equals 10. We have x plus 4, the opposite of adding 4 is to subtract 4 from both sides. So we then end up with x equals 6. And we are done. All right, let's keep on rolling. We'll head to the next one. Number 2. If 2 over x equals 3, or 2x over 3 equals 4, what is 2x plus 5? Okay, so right away, there are 2 parts to this problem. That is something that we've struggled with since day 1, so you need to make sure, read a problem, read it twice if you need to, and make sure you understand what it is asking you to find. This is saying, okay, if this, what is 2x plus 5? So in order to find what 2x plus 5 equals, I first need to find x. So we're going to use this right here to solve for x, and then we're going to use that to find what 2x plus 5 is. Okay, so there's 2 steps to this. First, find x. Second, we need to plug x in and find 2x plus 5. Okay, so starting with this one, this is part 1, solving for x. Again, just like the problem above, we need to get rid of division first. The opposite of divide is multiply. We get 2x equals 12. 2 times x. The opposite of 2 times is to divide by 2. Those cancel, and we get x equals 6. Again, after you think you've solved the problem, double check, read it again, and see if you did what it's asking for. If 2x over 3 equals 4, what is 2x plus 5? So now I know x equals 6. Now I can do the second part here. X is 6, so just like above when we knew, oh, well, n was 2, so we just substituted it and plugged it in. We can do the same thing here. X is 6, so we're going to just plug that guy in for x. 2 times 6 plus 5. 2 times 6 is 12 plus 5. So my answer is 17. Okay. Again, double checking and understanding what it's asking for is super important. I think the other important thing to note before we get further is when you go back and try these quizzes problems, they are exactly the same, just with some different numbers. All right, and then again, as always, pause me if you need to try and write this down. All right, the next solving equations one, we have a fraction here. So we have 2/3 6x minus 9 equals 2. Okay, and I'm saying solve for x. So we know we're trying to get to the point where we know what x equals. Now, just like the first two problems, the very first thing we did was get rid of the denominator, get rid of the bottom of our fraction. We have a divide by 5, so we got rid of it by multiplying by 5. We had a divide by 3, we got rid of it by multiplying by 3. Same thing here. We have 2 divided by 3. I'm going to get rid of that divide by 3 by multiplying both sides by 3. 3's cancel. Now I have 2. 6x minus 9 equals 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. Now here comes the distributive property. We bring what's on the outside to both things inside. When two things are touching, that means they're being multiplied, so 2 is being multiplied by this whole thing. So when we bring it inside, we're going to multiply everything. So 2 times 6x is 12x. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18 equals 6. Okay, now we have a two-step equation. We get rid of addition and subtraction first. The opposite of subtraction is to add. So we add 18, add 18. The minus and adding 18 cancel. And we get 12x equals 18 plus 6 is 24. And then we have 12 times x, so we have one step left to get rid of that, which is to divide both sides by 12. And we end up with x, x equals 2. 24 divided by 12 is 2. Awesome. All right, so there are all three solving equations, getting a little bit trickier as we went down the path. Next step, we're going to look at none, one, or infinite solutions. So remember, once we solve equations, sometimes our variables get canceled out. And when that happens, if we have the same number on both sides, that means we have infinite solutions. If we end up with just like 2 equals 3, that is no solution because 2 does not equal 3. So when I'm doing this problem here, again, we have a number outside of our parentheses, so we're going to distribute it. We're going to bring it to the inside by multiplying it by both things inside. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. I have the same exact thing on both sides, 4x and 4x and 6 and 6. So this is going to be infinite solutions. Or, let me rephrase that. So if you can tell right here that they're the same thing on both sides, you can say infinite. Or you could take it one step further. Something that we were doing a lot was getting our variables on one side. So subtract 4x, subtract 4x. So that way we can get this 4x and that 4x to combine. They end up canceling and we're left with 6 equals 6. A number equals itself. And when we have the same number on both sides, that tells us it's infinite. But in the long run, if you have the same number on both sides or the same thing on both sides, that means infinite. If you had, like instead of that, if you had 4x plus 6 equals 4x plus 9, that would be no solution because your x values are the same, but your two numbers here are different. Because what would happen is we subtract 4x on both sides, and you're left with 6 equals 9. 6 does not equal 9, so you would end up with no solution. But again, if you see that your x terms are the same, but those constants are different, you can automatically jump to the conclusion that there's no solution. All right. Next one, what number would make this infinite? So what number would make both sides equal? So we have 3x plus 4, 3x, or 3 times x plus something. So what we need to realize is that this 3 is going to be distributed to the inside here. And I'm trying to get this side to be the same as my left side. So right now, if my 3, oh, that's a bad problem. Sorry. let's go like this. Your page will be changed already, so no worries there. But anyways, so 3x plus 12, and then we have 3 times x plus a space. I need to know what am I going to multiply 3 by to end up with the same exact thing on the left as my left side of the equation. So if we multiply 3 by x, that's going to give me 3x. Now here, you're going to jump and want to say 12, because that's what we see on both sides. But remember, this 3 is being distributed, so this is 3 times what gives me 12. And that's where we're going to say 4. So 4 is what would make this have infinite number of solutions, because now we have 3 times 4 is 12. So again, when we're doing this kind of problem, you need to ask yourself 3 times what is going to give you that 12 that you need, and that is your answer. Okay, on to the next one, solving inequalities. This is also a rough one. So we have a giant problem here. Again, I think the main thing is to know that number one, we solve them the same exact way as equations by distributing, combining like terms, and then solving for x. The main difference here was that golden rule. So when we multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip that sign. So let's go ahead and get this started. So we're going to first, I see a 3 outside of my parentheses. So I'm going to distribute that first. 3 times negative 2x is negative 6x. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 2x is less than 33. Now we can combine like terms, so everything with an x we can combine together. Negative 6x plus 2x is negative 4x plus 9, and that is less than 33. Again, now from here we have a two-step equation. We get rid of addition and subtraction first. The opposite of plus 9 is to take away 9 on both sides. Negative 4x is less than 24. And then we have negative 4 times x, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. Remember, we need to get rid of that negative as well. And then we get x, and then 24 divided by negative 4 is negative 6. But again, right here, this step is super important. We divided by a negative. So we need to flip our sign. So that means we're not going to have a less than sign anymore. We're going to flip it and make it a greater than sign. And now we're done. Okay, on to the last one here. So now we have story problems. So we're going to create equations and then solve them. So super important, pay attention to the words, annotate your problems, and then know what you're solving for. So when planning a trip to a paintball course, Mrs. Long spent $300. The paintball course charges $400 to rent the space and then $10 per person. How many people did I invite in order for my total to be $300? So my total, I know, equals $300. Setting up the equation, hopefully you remember it's always like a number plus a number that's being multiplied by your variable. Okay, so right away, I know that like 40 is our initial value. That's where we're starting. And then on top of that 40, we're paying $10 per person. So the 10 is being multiplied by the P, because if you have one person, it's $10. Two, it's 20. And then now we're going to figure out how many people I invited. We're going to solve for P people. We can subtract 40 on both sides. We get 10p equals 260. We divide both sides by 10 because this is 10 times p. And we get p equals 26. So that means I brought 26 people. All right. You have some problems here you're going to try now, so I want you to try those first and then come back and watch the second video with the answers if you don't want to do the quizzes. but no matter what, come back, check your answers after you've tried.